Hello and welcome once again, friends. My name is Gerald. I'm here at the Innovate Christian Community Church in Kannapolis. Welcome to our daily psalm reading. I know it may be night for some of us, it may be daytime for some of us. Whatever time it is for you, I just pray as always this is a blessing and an encouragement to you as we get to read and see what God delivers to us through His Word today. Our psalm is Psalm 84, and it is entitled, My Soul Longs for the Courts of the Lord. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord of hosts! My soul longs, yes, faints, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and flesh sing for joy to the living God. Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young at your altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are those who dwell in your house, ever singing your praise. Blessed are those whose strength is in you, in whose heart are the highways to Zion. As they go through the valley of Baca, they make it a place of springs. The early rain also covers it with pools. They go from strength to strength. Each one appears before God in Zion. O Lord God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. Behold our shield, O God. Look on the face of your anointed. For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of wickedness. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the one who trusts in you. So here we have the author of this psalm, to me, remembering and loving in his memory being in the temple, being where he really felt that God dwelt. Now, understand that God dwells everywhere. There's no building that can hold him, of course. But as you probably know, if you have attended church or belong to a church, then you know most of the time we look at that building as being sacred and holy and a special place. You know, how many times you hear somebody say something wrong inside of a church only to say, oh, I shouldn't say that in church. Which usually my reply is you shouldn't say it anywhere if you're not supposed to say it in the church. But anyway, I digress. The thing is he's remembering the beauty and the singing, the praise, maybe even the look of the church or the temple. And I can't help but think about our own situation. And many of us right now are still not meeting in churches, or if we are meeting in very small or smaller groups. Uh, and so some of us are longing for that time together again. And then again, it can just be a sense of remembering your younger years in church. Or maybe, what comes to your mind? That's kind of my question. Like, what comes to your mind whenever you think about the church and what kind of building it is to you? I found a picture online, and this is going to surprise some of the people that know me because I'm kind of seeing one that's kind of the more modern side. But whenever I think about church, this is what comes to my mind very often. It's the simple, the old white church. Nothing but hardened pews to sit on, no cushions, no air conditioning, And I honestly can't say that I've actually worshiped in a place like that before. But for some reason, I have this heart, this feeling within me that really loves that kind of church, that reminder of what it was because it was simple. There wasn't a lot of ornate lighting or ornate music or, cushioned chairs or anything. It was really church at its most organic. It was a real community of people that loved each other and that would go in this place and maybe even be uncomfortable to hear a good country preacher and some good country, or maybe not country, choir singing. But some of us, we all have a memory of church, a yearning for a kind of church community like that. And again, it may be something that you were brought up in. I wasn't brought up in the church, but yet I have a love for the church, even the very traditional church like I just showed you. I don't know why, just one of those things. But so I can kind of recognize with the writer of the psalm this yearning and this love for the temple, or this love for the church, as being that place of refuge, that place where you come face to face with the Almighty and you worship. And he talks about singing here, and worshiping with praise. And no matter what your style of music is, it's what helps you to praise and to worship God that matters. And it says, for a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. Do you look at being part of a church community, being part of a church in that way? Is it one of the more important things in your life? I'm not real big on convincing people that you got to belong to a church building. I'm more about the church being a group of people than I am about the building where we sit and where we look at the scriptures. We can do that outside anywhere. But I do have a reverence and a love for the building as well, as part of what God has given us to worship in. No matter if it's a very modern place, if it's a tin building, if it's an old wooden white church, whatever it is, it still has a special sacredness to it. And I can understand that. And so again, I kind of recognize with this psalm writer, he says, I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of wickedness. Again, what kind of church building or atmosphere do you love? And what in your memory takes you back to that pureness, I would say, of your faith life and your upbringing? What is your experience inside a church building? Maybe take a little time to just kind of reminisce and get back in touch with that. Maybe that's the word that God has for us tonight. And maybe that will rekindle your love for the church, for the group of people that you call the church, as well as the space that you may meet in. Friends, as always, my hope and prayer that this has been a blessing and an encouragement to you. And if so, then I would love if you would take the time to share this with somebody else so that they too can be blessed and encouraged. And we'll see you again tomorrow night as we read the Psalm.